in San Diego for the Pacific Division Finals between the Bakersfield Condors and San Diego Gulls, and I'm pleased to be joined by new Edmonton Oilers General Manager and President of Hockey Operations, Ken Holland. Ken, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, nice to be with you.
Ken, you came in on Wednesday afternoon. A heck of a game to take in as your first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a wild game. Went back and forth. Obviously, being down 2 goals in the third period didn't look good, and huge comeback and a huge goal in overtime, and they're back in the series.
So you came in on Wednesday. What are your first impressions of the Bakersfield Condor as a club as a whole, the staff, and the on-ice product?
Well, talking to the people around the team coming in, good chemistry, and I think we saw that the other night. They were down and they stuck with it and scored a goal in the last minute. So that's an important ingredient in a hockey team, I think, is the ability to compete right to the finish line, and they did that. It's a credit to Jay Woodcroft and his staff, and also the leadership on the ice.
We were talking off camera a little bit. It's been quite the eventful few days for you. How's that transition been, and how have you been welcomed into the Oilers organization?
Well, it's been very busy, which I expected. This is the busy time of the year, though, for all teams, from now and probably till early July. This week I'm going back to Edmonton. We got our amateur scouts coming in, our pro scouts coming in. Obviously, I'm trying to figure out on the coaching end who I want to meet. Obviously some interviews. I'm excited to be able to watch Bakersfield play a couple of games, to watch some of the young players too. Definitely
an important time with the draft rolling around, but let's talk about some of the guys that you guys have already drafted. Where do you see some strengths down the pipeline here in Bakersfield and beyond?
Well, I think on the back end, certainly there's lots of kids. We watched Bouchard the other night. I've seen him a lot in London. Samarukov, and then on Bakersfield, obviously you've got Bear and Jones, and there's Laja, give me his name. Lagesson. I know all these guys. Yeah, the overtime winner. So some good kids on the back end. You got to be strong on the back end, and so there's some good young players.
Now you're known for developing your prospects well. When you look at these prospects, how important is it for them to be surrounded by AHL veterans and players that have been around the professional ranks for a number of years, guys like Brad Malone and Joseph Gambardella, who combined for 9 points? What does that mean for them to maybe be catalysts for the young guys moving forward?
Well, I think it's huge, both at the National Hockey League level and at the American Hockey League level. Certainly at this level, for young players to have real good role models and mentors, be in a competitive, positive environment, is really, really important to develop of young players. So, they get to play with those veteran players. They show them how to go about being pros. I think it's huge, and there's a great vibe in the team, and I think that's real positive.
Well, the young players, Ken, and the older players, the veterans on this club, they always attribute their head coach, Jay Woodcroft. You've been here for a few days. What have been the first kind of conversations you've had with Jay?
Well, I'm lucky. I know Jay. Mike Babcock hired him in Detroit 10 years ago to be a video coach. So I've known Jay for a long time. He's very, very positive. He's upbeat. He's worked very, very hard to go from a video coach to a head coach at the American League level. He's put together a real good staff. And I think that you see in the record, and like I said the other night, the team never gave up. I mean, it's the first time I've seen the hockey team, but they never gave up, and there was a lot of adversity, and they stuck with it, and it paid off with a win.
Does it kind of help having a guy like Jay Woodcroft, a familiar face in the organization?
Yeah, I mean, the more people that I know is obviously important from my perspective. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do. This week I spent a lot of time here in Bakersfield with Keith Gretzky. I've known Craig McTavish for a long, long time, so spent some time with him. I'm trying to, I use the word gather information, but just talk to all these people about the players, not only in Bakersfield, but also in Edmonton, and try to formulate some thoughts as I head in towards the draft and free agency.
Now, it's said that the success of an NHL franchise begins in its developmental stages. How important is the success of the Bakersfield Condors to the Edmonton Oilers organization as a whole?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, it starts even before that. It starts at the draft table, and you got to draft, and then you obviously, after you draft them, they work their way through junior college to the American Hockey League, and that's the biggest jump, I think, is from junior college to the American Hockey League. You're going from playing with young men to people that's how they feed their families. They're pros. They're 26, 27, 28 years of age. They're big, they're strong, they're strong. So that's the biggest jump. It's a smaller jump from the American League to the National Hockey League. So this jump, this level at the American Hockey League is critical in a the odd player misses this step, but most players have to take this step. And having a real good coaching staff, having a team that competes for the playoffs, I think being in this playoff series, round 2, is really, really important and really positive for the confidence of these young players.
Now, Ken, let's talk about the American Hockey League level, because on your press conference on Tuesday, you talked about being known for ripening your players in the Detroit farm system. For Oilers fans, is that something we can expect now and moving forward?
Yeah, that's what yes. The answer is yes. I played 9 years of pro, and I played 8 of my 9 years in the American Hockey League. I love the American Hockey League. I think it's a really, really good league to develop players, develop coaches, develop referees. It's a great league, and again, it's nice to be able to go from the draft table to the NHL, but very, very few do that. So time in the American Hockey League is critical. Get stronger. Develop your confidence, and when you hit the National Hockey League, you feel good about yourself. The NHL is not a development league; it's a league where we're trying to win. We're trying to win hockey games. So this is the best development league in the world.
Now, you talked about the draft a lot. The draft is coming up in June. What are the next steps in the short term, moving forward now that you're in the position?
Well, later this week or next week, we're bringing in our amateur scouts for our year-end meetings. We'll go through all the meetings. Fortunately for me, I did a lot of amateur scouting the last 2-3 months because the Red Wings were out of the playoff picture, and we were getting ready for the draft. And living in Detroit, I live on 7 Mile, and on 5 Mile, 2 miles away, is the U.S. under-18 team, and they've got 6, 7, 8 players on that team that are going to go in the first round. So I'm well versed in the players for this year's entry draft. I'm looking forward to spending time with the Oilers scouts, amateur scouts, and getting their thoughts as we put our list together heading into the draft in Vancouver.
Ken, I'd like to thank you for your time today, and I wish you best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.